Welcome to the Life Lift Podcast, the podcast for the ambitious, the purpose-driven, and the ones who know they're meant for more. If you're ready to unlock the next version of yourself, you're in the right place.
Hey everyone, I'm Kaly.
And I'm Adam, and this podcast is for people who are done playing small. Whether you're building a business, rethinking your identity, or just craving more from life.
We're two friends, entrepreneurs and growth junkies who have built businesses, hit burnout, and found our way back to purpose. And now we're here to help you do the same, but faster, clearer, and without breakdown. Let's get started. Welcome back, everyone. It's your friends, Kaly and Adam. And today in the Life Live podcast, we're going to be talking about escaping your lows, because life will throw you highs and many lows. And it's so important about getting back up again. And we want to really have this one as a very personal, deep episode where we're going to let you in behind the scenes on hopefully only one low that we've overcome, and share the tools that we used that will maybe help you overcome some of your lows and what's to come in the future as well. Because you were talking about the kimono effect, which I've never heard of before, and how does that impact how you get through your lows and how you deal.
Yeah.
I also think before we start that it's really important to embrace the lows.
Yeah.
And go through it, because then it really makes you appreciate when you are on your highs. It's because it's unrealistic to constantly be on a high. What goes up must come down, right?
Yeah.
So what's the kimono effect? What's this theory?
Well, it's all about, so when a geisha gets ready and puts on the whole regalia, that no one sees them do that, only the other geishas. And so the idea is that what I take from this concept, or this kind of mental image, is that a lot of the time people only see the final result. They see the geisha, they see the whole outfit. And they don't see like the bit that went in beforehand, which got them there. And I get asked this a lot, and I know you do as well, of, you know, how do you juggle this? Or how do you do that? How did you create a business like that from scratch in, 2 and a bit years? How did you come out and then still have, great relationships with your kids and your ex-wife, and, all many, many more topics too. But people quite often only see the polish. They don't see the work that it took to get there,
the tarnish first,
and the hard work. So today's episode really is all about this. It's about something that has taken a lot of work. I know for you, you've been very honest with me over the years about yourself, and I have with you too. But I think it would be really useful if you're happy to share what we were talking about earlier. Because I think a lot of people would maybe really strike a chord with what.
Yeah, and I think I've protected this part of my life for many reasons. But my biggest low was post-birth with Luca, with my first child. Throughout the whole I had an amazing pregnancy, by the way. It was, I remember saying, and I still would, I'd be a surrogate. This is the most amazing experience of my life. I enjoyed every part. There was no complications. My water broke on my due date. I was like, they were like, only 3% of people it happens. I was like, of course, I was just always overachieving. This is amazing. I was in labor from Monday to Thursday. I didn't sleep. I didn't eat. It was painful, yes, but somehow that wasn't difficult for me. Your body just knows what it's doing. The pain was hard, but it was manageable. And then on Thursday morning, Luca's heart rate dropped, and then eventually it stopped. So it was emergency C-section. When he was delivered, he wasn't alive, and nobody knows that. I think my family obviously know, but I wouldn't even say my cousins know. They had to resuscitate him, and then he passed away again, and they had to resuscitate him again. So he was resuscitated twice. I didn't have skin to skin. I didn't know what was going on. Nobody was talking to me. It was crash call. Everyone was on the baby. And I was also like, I'd been up for 5 days. I was delusional. I was on drugs. I was vomiting into like a hat next to my head. And the consultant was like, I kept saying, where's my baby? Where's my baby? And he said, we're going to do a debrief before you get to meet him. We're going to do debrief. And I thought, maybe this is normal. Like, I always thought the baby comes out, like, congratulations, it's a boy. You get skin to skin. Everyone's crying. I've seen all the photos. I've heard the cries. I watch One Born every minute. I thought, this is so weird. The room is so quiet, like eerily quiet. All I could hear was like, dee, 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 the machines. Eventually one of the nurses, the midwives came up and said, have you consented for vitamin K? And that's how I knew he was alive. Nobody had even thought, I'm on this like literally crucifix, the way it was like in Braveheart. No one is thinking about me. Alex was like holding my hand, like, I can see him, it's fine. I was like, why can't I hear him though? And I didn't realize at the time, I've done a lot of therapy posts, that my body then detached. My body was like, the baby's not here, so just detach. And so even when I got skin to skin, it was almost too late. I got a big debrief before I met him. He's very blue in the face. He's lost oxygen. We don't want you to panic. Everything's okay. And I was like, what about brain damage? What, like, the medic in me was on overdrive. So when I held him, I wasn't in that bubble that everybody expected. Everyone's like, enjoy the bubble. It's going to be amazing. It was numb. I was numb. Everybody then, when I was in my room now, everybody's left and I'm with this child that I wasn't feeling that like unbelievable, crazy love, which I was also confused about. And then I was convincing myself I was a bad mom, but it's because I had emotionally detached. And I also didn't want to allow myself to love him because I was so scared he was going to be taken away, because he didn't even come to me the way that I expected him to come to me. It took me a long time to allow myself to love him. And then the more I loved him, the harder it got, because I was a paranoid mess. Like, I couldn't let people hold him. If people took him for a walk in the pram, I would be breathing down their neck. I wanted to make sure his temperature was okay. I have so many patients that come in that have given birth and they say, oh, how weird is that you keep checking that they're breathing? When they're in the cot. I'm like, in the cot, I held him. I held him for 4 months. It was like the 4th trimester, because I couldn't even have him be away from me. I was a wreck. I didn't shower for weeks because I thought, what if I'm in the shower and then he stops? I'm going to come out and he's going to stop breathing. It was severe anxiety, insomnia, delusion. Your hormones are a mess anyway when you've given birth. But then add to that the emotional side of it, the mental side of it. My relationship with Alex was hanging on by like a spider's web. I was also building The Secret and constantly getting messages from patients saying, oh, your fellow practitioners that were working in the same clinic that I was working in, I was renting a room at the time, were reaching out to my patients and saying, Kaly's off, I'll look after you. Or Kaly's not coming back, so I'm taken off her list. I felt so attacked professionally. I was like, I'm here in a hole. And while I'm in a hole, you guys are just poaching my business. And
vultures.
Yeah, I felt vulnerable, unsafe, paranoid, really, really erratic, intrusive thoughts that were not healthy, that I don't think I would ever share. I didn't know who I was physically, mentally, emotionally. It was horrible. It was the worst experience of my life. The worst. And all my family will tell you I was not who I was. I did a lot of therapy. I am still, you can see, triggered by it. And 5 months later, I fell pregnant. And then the anxiety just quadrupled, because I thought, oh my God, what if this child isn't going to make it? And I think that in that time, this is 2022, 2023, 2024, is actually when the business was doing the most. I got an award last year to say that I had the largest business growth from 2022 to 2023 in the UK from the clinics that use this particular brand of filler. And I thought, how strange that in the time I was in the deepest depression, my business did the best. And it's because it was coping mechanism. That was my distraction. The only way to then not think about the fact that the paranoia of Luca not being here, or, I was a bad mom because I didn't feel that engulfing love, or I had to accept that he wasn't alive. And, the brain damage part of it, they're like, oh, we'll see as he develops. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I need to kind of know, control freak. I need to know now. My pregnancy was perfect. And when I was sharing my stories postpartum, again, distracting, everyone was like, how was it? How was everything? I said, amazing. I'm so blessed. It was the most traumatic experience of my life. Luckily for me, for Sophia, it was organized. It was a planned C-section. Everything was fine. And I was a totally different person. I was cooking dinner for the family within 2 days of coming out, and I was myself. And I had that engulfing love with Sophia. I was like overwhelmed. I'd like watch her sleep and cry. But I still feel guilt for the way I was for both, because I'm like, I didn't give Luca that. I couldn't. I just wasn't there. Is incredibly difficult. And yes, I use work as a distraction coping mechanism, but I also thought at the time, oh my God, my whole life's just gone upside down, and now I'm just going to have to do this forever. I'm going to have to check his breathing forever. I'll never be the same again. I'm just going to be this crippling, anxious, like vomiting. I'd vomit at like 11 o'clock every day on schedule. And I thought it was pregnancy related. Nope, it continued way after pregnancy as well. And it's just anxiety. And my circle became extremely small. A lot of my friends and family will be shocked and surprised to listen to this, because I've shared it with no one, because I wasn't ready to. I am now. I want to. And I want people to see that, my geisha moment. You saw the show. 6 weeks later, I was back. I was injecting, and the clinic's been doing amazing. I opened The Secret 8 months pregnant with my second child. I had a 12-month-old. I seem unstoppable, but that's, behind the stage when I'm getting changed. I'm also a human being I was overwhelmed. I was crippled with anxiety. I cried a lot. And I just wish somebody was there to say, that's also normal. The NHS offered me therapy, and I was like, I don't need therapy. What do I need therapy for? What do you mean? It was after Sophia was born, I saw how different I was, that I then sought help personally, and it was been the best thing I've ever done. Really I see it more like as a life coach than therapy. I honestly feel so much lighter just sharing that.
Hey, it's really brave of you to share that.
And Luca is thriving, and he's great. I mean, you've met him multiple times. He's loud and confident, and he's amazing, and he's here, and I've like completely allowed myself to love him the way I want to as a mum. And I know he will forgive me for not being that way for the first 16 weeks, because he won't remember. But I also, I held him for so long that he still sleeps in our bed, where Sophia's in her other room, even though she's the younger one. She's the glass child.
Yeah.
I'm creating a glass child. I need to work on that. Yeah. I'm creating her. But yeah, it was tough.
If there's someone that's in a similar situation, what advice would you give them now that you've gone through your journey that way?
To speak up. Because I like I said, it was my first time. I didn't know. I just assumed this was normal. But your version of normal is yours. So speak up. Like, if you need someone to turn up for you in a different way, then ask them. If you need to cry a little bit longer, then do that. Take the resources, because it's there. And the NHS are an amazing service. To be fair to the community nurse, she came to my door every day, and I was like, I'm okay. We had to fill out a questionnaire. You have to fill out a questionnaire like the day after, then 6 weeks and 12 weeks, and it gives you a score. Okay. I cry often, never, sometimes. And I was circling all the right things, but they give you multiple opportunities to say, I need help. And if you need it, just take it, and there's no shame in it. I was just so caught up with, I'm supposed to be in my bubble, so I'm just going to pretend like I am. And I wasn't.
Can I ask you why you did that?
Because I don't have the opportunity to be the weak one, ever. And I saw it as weakness rather than strength. I now know it's my strength. But I didn't want anyone to worry about me. So I just did it in silence, and it was damaging. So yeah, take the resources, they're there for a reason. It does, when you're in your lows, which, you know, we're going to talk about your low, because I did not anticipate crying today, that it's, remember who was there for you.
Yeah.
And who didn't turn up. Like that was huge for me as well. And some people turned up for me that I didn't expect. You were one of them. I was like, wow, he owes me nothing, but he's the one asking me, you know, when I told you when I was pregnant, you were the one that was the most empathetic and supportive, and like, I'm so happy for you, but what does this mean?
I think it's really hard, isn't it? Because I think we're wired to see asking for help as weak.
Yeah.
And because I feel exactly the same. And I would have, if I was in your shoes, I probably would have done the exact same thing too.
Just suffered in silence.
Yeah. And I wonder why we do that. Because I think we're not alone. I think lots and lots of people are like that. We suffer because we don't want to ask for help. We don't want to seem like we can't do it or we're not good enough.
Which is strange, because now I'm so open about
Yeah.
my weaknesses, my flaws and all. But I think it's because I'm secure in who I am now.
Mm-hmm.
Back then I was just, I think I was angry, you know. I was really angry that I needed to ask for help. Why am I having to ask for help? Can't you see I'm struggling? I'm literally crying every day. I've not washed. Yeah. I'm twice the size that I was before. Like, it was so obvious to me that I needed help, that I was angered that I was in a position where I had to ask for it.
Yeah.
It was anger. It was resentment.
Do you think that comes from being the glass child?
Yeah.
That people think that you don't need the help?
Yep, 100%. And I'm doing so much work on that. But also, to be fair to my parents, I also didn't want them to have something else to worry about. I was like, they're grandparents for the first time. I want them to enjoy it. And I want them to be in their bubble. And they were in their bubble. Mm-hmm. And no one needs to look after me, because I'm the one looking after everybody else.
Yeah.
Professionally, personally, in my friendship groups. You sent me a massive bouquet of blue flowers. And I remember being really like taken aback by that, because you didn't need to do that. We weren't like, we were close, but we weren't there.
Yeah.
And I remember like watching the flowers slowly die. And I said to my mom, I am that bouquet of flowers. Like, I was once this like blooming, happy, and now I'm just like wasting away. And her response was, yeah, but this is what happens when you become a mom. No, it's not. No, it's not. And it's actually made me realize so many things that my mom was guided was just what she was told. And then, so she passes that on, and then I pass that on to Sophia, and I want to break the cycle and I want to break the mold before I pass that message on to Sophia, to everyone that's listening. No, you don't. You don't have to be cancelled because you became a mom. Emotionally, in your relationship, professionally, if you want to be the mom that still goes to Ibiza opening parties, then do that. If you want to be successful in your career, then do that. I want to dress well and go out for dinners. I'm going to do that. Whereas my mom just told me what she knew. And Granny only told mom what she knew, which is that, yeah, you're great until you become a mom, and then you just got to be a mother until you die. And that was really triggering for me. I think the worst thing you can say to me is, no, you can't do that, because I'm going to show you I can. I can do it double.
Yeah.
But the glass child is why I didn't ask for help.
Yeah.
And I was angry because I didn't feel like I needed to, because I was so obviously a mess.
Yeah.
And so I'm very fine-tuned to that when I see it in patients, or, you know, when Connor said Kaly seemed quiet, he's fine-tuned. Mm-hmm. He's also gone through something that picks up the I'm okay.
Yeah.
When you're not okay.
The thing I've noticed, you know, is that if you're a friend, you actually have to sometimes ask things that are uncomfortable.
Yeah, the hard stuff.
For the sake of, for the other person.
Yeah.
You know, because I think it's easy to assume that everything's okay. And actually, you know, I think sometimes you have to ask an uncomfortable question to say, you look terrible, just like Rashi did. You know, are you actually doing all right? And if you even would have said yes at that point, say, well, then why do you look so bad?
Yeah.
Why have you got big bags on your eyes?
I think I replied back saying, oh, just, normal post-baby blues.
Yeah.
And she said, well, if you ever need me to come around and hold the baby so you can sleep or cook, or she did offer me help.
Yeah.
And the glass child in me said, thanks, I really appreciate that.
I don't need it. Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah.
But then now when my friends are having kids, the ones I'm close enough to, I'll be the first one that will go around with a takeaway. And I'm like, I know you're like an Indian. Let me hold the baby.
Yeah.
Eat. Let me hold the baby. Because it's so simple. It's like 30 quid for me, but it's like night and day for them.
It is.
Or like, so I'll always message the dad. My really close friend had a baby last year. Can't believe the baby's one now. And I actually messaged the dad on the day. I said, this is going to be huge for you. People forget you sometimes. And it's overwhelming for you too. Just don't forget to like turn up for her. Yeah. She's the one that's physically, emotionally. Do you know how hard it is to like leave the hospital in nappies and you're twice the size? Also, when you have a baby, by the way, the bump stays for a long time. I was like, why? I'd like picked out a dress from Zara.
Why am I not a size 8 again?
Hi, I'm still pregnant. I picked out a dress from Zara that I was going to wear.
Still a baby in there.
Yeah, I was huge. And I was going to like hold the baby and walk out and do the independent women thing where like I'm going to carry the baby out, not take a picture of my husband while I'm waddling behind. And the dress obviously didn't fit. And it's the only thing I had packed. So I walked out of the hospital with a dress that was gaping open, like my belly, my nappies, everything. And then Alex got to have the pride and joy of carrying the baby out, and while I was behind, like taking a photo. Why? Why is that the thing? Why are we putting up pictures of the man carrying the baby out? I can't even walk. I should be on a wheelchair with my child and you're pushing me out and a nurse is taking a photo of the three of us. But the societal norm is it's that daddy picture with the car seat. Why?
Yeah.
Who decided that? Who decided it had to be a bubble? And I'm seeing it. So many bloggers are having kids and they're out of like, I never want this to end. I love this little bubble. I'm like, why are you lying? It biologically can't be that good. Biologically. And then there's all the mental side of it. And then there's your relationship and then your body. And it's incredibly difficult. And I just wish that I seeked for help and acknowledged that it's not a weakness to need help. And you can still be invincible when you've healed.
I think this is why it's really good that you talk about this, though, now that you're ready to, because I think a lot of people think they just have to get on with it. You know, how many times have you been taught? I certainly have. Just get on with it.
Yeah, just suck it up.
Just suck it up.
Get over it.
That's life. You know, a number of times my parents used to say this to me, well, that's life. Get over it. You know, and it does teach you not to share the knocks and the journeys and the real lows.
So just hold it here,
Yeah, because that's life, you know, and that's what being a mom is. But actually, it's really not. It's just what the generational cycle has been that way.
But we can cut it.
Yeah, and I'm really glad that you are now in a position that you can talk about this stuff, because I think, you know, it's a big deal. This is what life is, you know, and as you said at the beginning of the episode, where those lows are fundamental to who you are.
Yeah, and makes me appreciate the highs so much more. Yeah. And also who I will be, because I now turn up differently for people.
Exactly.
Because I know how I needed somebody to turn up for me. Yeah.
I'm really glad that you've got to the point where, after a lot of therapy and talking and actually being open and vulnerable, that you've come to the point where you can reconcile, I guess, with your emotion now and how that journey has affected you and still is, you know, in many, many ways. Can I ask you, if you could, in maybe 3 points here or a couple of points, what have you learned then about yourself and overcoming adversity like that, or coming through such a deep, life-altering challenge? What have you learned that you would pass on to someone else?
Something that I've learned within myself that I obviously can't pass on is you're much stronger than you think you are. Like, I'm extremely resilient. I knew I was strong, but I just didn't know I was capable of that. And actually, maybe that is something I'd pass on, is you don't know how strong you are until you have to be.
Yeah.
And trust yourself that you're going to get through it. But also, you don't have to go through it alone. And there are good people out there that genuinely want to help you, not just surface level stuff.
Yeah.
And sometimes in these lows, that's when you find out your people. So let them turn up for you and don't camouflage your feelings. You owe it to yourself to have a little bit of hand holding, even if you're the one that's always holding everybody else's hands. Sometimes it's good to take a step back. So yeah, you don't know how strong you are until you have to be. But even then, take some help. And in the words of Harry Potter, there is always help. You just need to ask for it. There's always light. You just need to ask for it.
Yeah.
Somewhere. You don't have to struggle.
Yeah. Let people in.
Yeah, let people in. That would be my take-home message.
Thanks for sharing that today.
Thanks for giving me the space too.
Yeah.
I feel good about it. It was the right time.
Good.
To
I'm really
share.
glad. I think for any of you that are listening to this that are going through something similar to what Kaly has, let people in. There are brilliant people in this world who are wanting to show up for you. I know that certainly in my life as well. And as somebody that usually has a closed door policy to that inner safe space, I think it's really important to show up for people. Be there. Even if they say they don't need it, make sure they don't need it.
Yeah.
Before you walk
and even
away.
if they say they don't, just show up anyway.
Be there anyway.
Yeah. Just
I
show
like
up
that.
anyway. And then that will show you how you want to be as a friend for everybody else.
Yeah, I agree. Well, thank you for joining us today. If you enjoyed this episode and what we talked about, what Kaly shared today, please like, share, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And until next time, it's your friends Adam and Kaly. Bye.
Bye.
This is the Life Lift podcast with Adam and Kaly, where we look at how to make shift happen. From our home to yours, we hope you feel inspired and motivated to do at least one thing differently today as you make your own shift happen towards a more rewarding and fulfilling life filled with purpose and happiness.